Before streaming, before social media, and before entertainment followed us everywhere, there were the TV faces we welcomed into our homes week after week in the 70s and 80s. Some were admired, some were adored, and some became so familiar that seeing them again today feels almost like seeing part of our own past. This is not only about how time changed them, it is about remembering what they once meant when those years were still unfolding. Tom Selleck, born 1945, was one of those television stars people could recognize in a second. In the 80s, he came to represent a very specific kind of leading man, confident, masculine, calm, and dependable. The mustache and Magnum PI made him iconic, but what really lasted was the feeling that he belonged to a time when TV heroes still felt grounded and real. Even now, his face brings back more than recognition. It brings back trust. Farrah Fawcett, 1947 to 2009, became far more than a television actress. She turned into one of the most unforgettable visual symbols of her era: the hair, the smile, the brightness, the kind of image that escaped the screen and entered everyday life. But what stayed with people was not only beauty, it was the sense of freedom, youth, and excitement she seemed to carry. Looking back now, she feels less like a celebrity and more like the face of a whole feeling. Michael Landon, 1936 to 1991, had the rare ability to make television feel personal. He was not just a star, he became a symbol of warmth, protection, and emotional safety in an era when family TV still shaped the mood of the home. For many viewers, his face came to mean comfort before it meant fame. And that is why he still matters now, because he reminds people what it felt like to be cared for by the screen. Don Johnson, born 1949, helped define what 80s television looked and felt like. He was stylish, magnetic, and carried the kind of cool that made one face feel tied to an entire decade. But what gave him lasting power was that he never felt generic. He had rhythm, edge, and a very specific kind of confidence. Looking at him now does not only bring back a man, it brings back the whole mood of the 80s. Richard Dean Anderson, born 1950, will always mean MacGyver for many viewers. He stood for a different kind of hero, not loud, not reckless, but clever, resourceful, and quietly impressive. That mattered, because he represented intelligence as a form of strength. Years later, that image still holds. He remains memorable because he was the kind of hero people admired and actually liked. But the 70s and 80s were not only about instantly recognizable stars. They also gave us the faces many viewers admired in a more personal way. The men and women once quietly carried into memory as first crushes, familiar favorites, and unforgettable presences. Lee Majors, born 1939, belonged to the time when television heroes were built to feel larger than life. He had the rugged strength, the screen presence, and the unmistakable force audiences understood immediately. But beneath that image was something simpler. He felt solid. Looking back now, he still represents an era when TV masculinity was direct, strong, and easy to admire. James Brolin, born 1940, carried the polished charm of a classic leading man. In his day, he represented a softer and more elegant kind of television masculinity, not only handsome, but composed, assured, and deeply watchable. That gave him a different kind of staying power. Even now, he feels less like hype and more like continuity, the kind of appeal that deepens instead of fading. Tim Matheson, born 1947, had the kind of screen presence that never needed to force attention. He was handsome, easy to like, and gave viewers the feeling that he belonged exactly where he was. In that sense, he represented one of television's quietest strengths, familiarity that slowly turns into attachment. Looking at him now, people do not only see someone who aged well, they see a face that stays believable. Jaclyn Smith, born 1945, represented a softer, more refined kind of television beauty. She stood out not because she demanded attention, but because she carried herself with grace, elegance, and quiet control. That gave her an allure that never depended entirely on trend or youth. Looking back now, people often see more than glamour. They see poise that survived time. John Schneider, born 1960, had the kind of youthful charm television once created almost effortlessly. He felt open, approachable, and deeply tied to the all-American warmth many viewers still connect with the late 70s and 80s. He was not only someone people watched, but someone they felt they grew up alongside. That is why seeing him now still feels like revisiting part of a lighter, easier TV world. And then there were the faces that did not just shine once. They became part of the weekly rhythm of television itself. The kind of stars people returned to again and again until they felt almost woven into ordinary life. Richard Thomas, born 1951, became memorable not through glamour, but through emotional presence. He represented thoughtfulness, sincerity, and the reflective heart of family storytelling. That made him stand apart from louder stars of the same era. Looking back now, what returns is not only his face, but the whole mood of that kind of television, intimate, warm, and deeply human. Patrick Duffy, born 1949, belonged to the age when primetime stars became regular parts of people's weekly lives. He had the kind of steady presence that made viewers feel they knew him even when the stories around him were dramatic and large. That familiarity mattered because it gave audiences something stable to return to. With time, his image became more than a role. It became part of the emotional atmosphere of an era. Greg Evigan, born 1953, is one of those stars whose power lies in rediscovery. He may not always be the first name people mention, but the moment his face appears, something opens in memory. He represents the kind of television familiarity that builds quietly over time, through repeated presence rather than hype, and that is why revisiting him feels so satisfying. David Cassidy, 1950 to 2017, represented more than television fame. He became a teenage dream, a music and TV sensation, and for many viewers, one of the first faces strongly tied to youthful emotion. What made him powerful was not only how he looked, but what he stirred: longing, excitement, and that rush of early fandom. Looking back now, the image carries more weight, but the spark is still there. Parker Stevenson, born 1952, fit perfectly into the fantasy of youthful television stardom. Clean-cut, polished, and unmistakably of his era, he represented a gentler version of the TV heartthrob. That is part of why he remains memorable. He belonged to such a specific emotional moment that seeing him again can feel like opening a forgotten drawer of memory. But some names stay alive in memory for another reason. They are the stars people still bring up when talking about classic television, the ones fans continue to mention whenever a list feels incomplete. Robert Urich, 1946 to 2002, is one of those names audiences bring up with unusual loyalty. He represented the classic handsome TV lead, dependable, present, and completely at home in the medium. What makes him especially meaningful is that viewers still feel he should never be overlooked. That kind of loyalty says a great deal about the place he still holds in memory. Lee Horsley, born 1955, represents one of nostalgia's most satisfying effects, the shock of sudden recognition. He may not dominate every mainstream list, but for the viewers who watched him at the right time, his face still lands with real force. He stood for the stylish, lesser-discussed TV leading man who once felt completely at home in that television world. And that rediscovery is part of what makes nostalgia feel so alive. Joe Penny, born 1956, belonged to a category of actors who earned affection through steadiness. He was not always the biggest star in the room, but he gave viewers something more lasting: familiarity, ease, and the feeling that he belonged where they remembered him. That made him quietly beloved. Looking back now, it is that calm screen presence people still respond to. Kent McCord, born 1942, symbolized a kind of old-school television decency that audiences understood immediately. His clean-cut image and grounded presence fit a screen culture that valued steadiness, professionalism, and quiet authority. In a louder entertainment world, that kind of appeal can feel rare now, but that is exactly why it remains meaningful. He still brings back a version of television where reliability itself could make someone memorable. Bill Bixby, 1934 to 1993, brought something especially human to television. He represented intelligence, warmth, and emotional openness in a way that made viewers feel close to him instead of simply impressed by him. That closeness is why his memory still carries weight. Some stars live on through spectacle. Bill Bixby lives on through feeling. And by the end of an era, a few faces stayed in memory for even deeper reasons. They were not only stars people watched, they became symbols of the kind of television and the kind of emotional world viewers still carry with them today. Sam Elliott, born 1944, became more than a familiar actor. He became a symbol. The voice, the face, the stillness, and the calm authority turned him into a lasting image of mature screen masculinity. What is remarkable is that age did not weaken that image, it intensified it. Looking at him now feels less like looking back and more like looking at something that endured. Pierce Brosnan, born 1953, already embodied a kind of smooth television sophistication long before later fame expanded his image even further. He represented polished charm, intelligence, and effortless elegance. Many viewers forget how strongly television shaped that image first. But once remembered, it becomes obvious. TV was where that refined magnetism first became familiar. Suzanne Somers, 1946 to 2023, represented television at its brighter, lighter, more playful best. She brought warmth, humor, flirtation, and a kind of cheerful glamour that never felt cold. That made her more than memorable, it made her comforting. And that is why people still remember not only how she looked, but how she made television feel. Linda Evans, born 1942, stood for a particular kind of 80s television glamour: elegant, polished, and deeply watchable. She was not memorable only because she looked the part, but because she carried that sophistication with enough softness to keep it human. That combination helped her stand out in an era full of dramatic television women. Looking back now, she still feels like one of the faces that gave 80s primetime TV its shine. People still remember not only how she looked, but how she made television feel. Chad Everett, 1937 to 2012, represents the classic television leading man in one of its clearest forms. He had composure, authority, and the kind of polished masculinity that once seemed central to TV stardom. What makes him especially moving to revisit now is how easily stars like him can slip from the center of conversation while remaining vivid to the viewers who loved them. That gap between public attention and private memory is one of nostalgia's deepest truths. Before you go, my name is Daniel Carter, and this is Celebs Before and After. A quiet place where we return to the faces, the roles, the shows, and the memories that once felt like part of everyday life, so we can remember not only how time changed them, but also who we were when we first loved them. If this episode brought back a memory, a feeling, or a familiar face you had not thought about in years, I would truly love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. Which TV star in this video brought you back to another time? And which actor or actress would you love to see in the next episode? Your memories, your stories, and your reflections help make this channel more than just a collection of videos. They help make it a place where we can remember together. If this episode meant something to you, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on the notification bell. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. And now, maybe this is the moment to let the video end gently. Take a deep breath, and stay for just a second with those older years. Those familiar faces, and the small part of your own life they still carry back to you. I'll see you in the next episode.